Great Britain have won the toss. And there's a man, and there is another man who could well win this Test match for Great Britain, Martin Offiah. This is his 23rd Test. He scored 22 tries. Absolutely remarkable. Alan Langer, the little halfback. Rod Wishart making his 5th Test appearance. He's run in 6 tries. So there's flyers on both sides, as Australia prepare to get this Sydney Test underway. Dennis Hale just waiting for the bands to clear the arena. We're about 5 minutes late, I make it, on my watch. But I'm sure that you'll find that it's well worth waiting for. So live and exclusive on Sky Sports, the 1992 Ashes series gets underway. Steadman with the first touch. A fire in at dummy half. Skerritt driving the ball upfield. The forward battle, Mike, you were saying before the match got underway, will be important tonight.
Well, they have to lay the foundation on both sides for the 3 quarters to show their skills. It's going to be hard and tough, especially in the opening 10 minutes.
Australian players down injured behind play. As Lee Crooks takes it up, but he's met by 3, and that's the last tackle. Britain still deep in their own half of the field. Steadman with the kick downfield. That's one of the reasons why he got the vote ahead of Hampson and Joe Lydon, who's on the bench, that he is important as far as the kicking is concerned.
It's a key factor, Eddie, in this any Test match situation. A good kicking game, force them back, put them under pressure as early as possible.
Australia in possession then. This is Bob Lindner. Gets through that challenge. That's not what Malcolm really wants to see, but he's finished off by Dennis Betts and Andy Platt. Now here's Harrigan. Great atmosphere inside the stadium. Kick downfield. Steadman collects it, does well at full stretch. But Wren runs straight into Laurie Daly.
There was talk in the Australian camp that they'd give Steadman plenty of work tonight. They feel that he's one of the few weak links. Well, we'll soon see that.
Philip Clark now knows what Ashes football's all about. This is Newlove. Dermott is the dummy half. Oh, it's quick, it's rough, and it's tough out there already. And I notice that the referee really is marching them back a good 5 metres at these play the balls. Here's Offiah. First touch for Offiah. The British crowd's on its feet as Offiah goes round one. He's down the wing. He's through. Oh, a foot in touch. A foot in touch has robbed Offiah. He can't believe it. Dennis Hale checks with the touch judge. He had the space. Look at this.
Oh, the speed of this man. You said it could be a match winner. That was sheer skill. He stood Langer up, the sweeper, and E.T. just had the push. The foot on the white line, the anguish on the man's face. Oh, what a start that would have been for Great Britain.
And a penalty at the scrum. Lee Crooks disputing the decision, but just a couple of centimetres, that's all.
Well, there you see Crooks kicking out. He's broken from the pack there. Langer trying to pick the ball up. But what a sensational start by Martin Offiah. Didn't he set up and go inside to Langer and really stood the man up? And Langer is no slouch.
And it's little incidents like that that could make or break Test matches. Well, downstairs, Jonathan Davis had a ringside view of that run by his former witness colleague, Offiah, now with Wigan, of course. Jonathan, we nearly had the start that we wanted.
Oh, superb run there by Offiah. He went round Langer as if he wasn't there. Just 1 foot, I think his little toe was in touch. And I think another injury, Lazarus is out on his feet. He took a bump about 2 minutes earlier, but now his blood streaming from his head. I think he's out on his feet.
A terrible injury for Glenn Lazarus. And also down there, by the way, is Kevin Ellis, who'll be joining us later on Sky Sports today. But Mike, what a bang that is for Lazarus.
Yeah, certainly what he caught a stray boot while he was going down on the tackle about 2 minutes earlier. He's got to go out. He does not know where he's going. He's out of the world.
Yes, doesn't know where he is. And number 15, David Gillespie, has come on to replace him. Lazarus didn't want to leave the field. Penalty to Australia. Walters restarts. This is Harrigan. Mighty collision between Platt and Harrigan. And the British swarming defence that we saw in evidence against Illawarra. Lazarus still doesn't know where he is. Sironen now. Great stuff. Ball comes free. And referee Dennis Hale has called a halt.
Well, I don't know what... That surprised not only me, but surprised the Sydney crowd. He's saying that Sironen knocked on. The ball looked to be going backwards. A good break there for the British.
Gregory gets possession from the scrum, and Schofield will knock one over the top for all the chasers to chase. Stedman's no slouch, neither's a fire, and Stedman reaches him first. Referee pins him though for offside as Hancock collected that 10 metres from his line. Stedman had run from an offside position, and so that is the fourth penalty in Australia to none for Great Britain.
Certainly caning the British boys, but no doubt about it, Stedman was stood in front of the kicker. He set off well before Schofield's long kick downfield, but the tactics early, they're going to use Martineau fire as many times as possible.
Gillespie with Dermott all over him. Walters, and now Harrigan. Oh, it's going to be a battle royal between the two number 10s, Harrigan and Crooks. Bradley Clyde. Philip Clark is opposite number.
That's wonderful defence by Britain. They're moving up very quickly. They're not allowing Australia to get into any pattern whatsoever.
Well, people predicted a tight test match, a titanic struggle. And it's got all the ingredients, this one, of being a cracker. That's 5 tackles gone. Australia still inside their own half of the field. Langer, they're going to run it. It's over the top, and Hancock, he too can move. Great Britain have to be alert. They have to swarm round the man in possession, and they have to tackle like that. Grit their teeth and get on with it.
That'll be the turnover. It was on the last tackle. Once again, the British defence well up to it.
Well, Great Britain have 194 caps on view in their starting lineup. Australians 138. 4 Ashes debutants in the green and gold. 5 tasting Ashes football for the first time for Great Britain, and there's a penalty to the British.
A little bit high there by the Australians, coming in very, very hard indeed. They know what it's all about. They've been there before. They've got plenty of experience.
Loughlin's penalty. 3 penalties to 1 in the Aussies' favour. Crooks stopped dead in his tracks. Oh, he felt that one. And the forwards having to work overtime for the time being. Gregory. Still Gregory. Schofield cutting through one. Hauled down by Sironen.
That's the type of play that Britain have to produce. The neat little switches, the skills that can take on the Australians. Break that defence down.
Loughlin picks up the pieces from Gregory, but that's good defence from Sironen. Gets a pat on the back. No wonder, that was a great tackle. Stedman just plants one downfield. Ettinghausen collects it. The British chasers arrive, and Ettinghausen is wheeled in. Powell and Clark. Well, we said privately we thought the opening 20 minutes or so would be important in this match. And already it seems to have flown, but we've had 8.5 minutes. There's a high one. Gregory being pulled out by Dennis Hale. It was on Peter Jackson.
He went very high. Let's not forget, on the last tour, Gregory was involved in that Battle of Brisbane when the British players really did stick it into the Australians. They said there'd be no repeat, and it's 10 minutes for the little halfback. Great Britain could well do without that, but it was a high tackle.
So Gregory who just looked as though he'd got stuck into it here. Really did get stuck into it on that occasion. He's off for 10 minutes. He's walking past Jonathan Davis. That's a blow, Jonathan. Well, we'll hear from Jonathan Davis in a moment or two. Lost him for a second. And another penalty against Great Britain to Australia. Dennis Hales being a bit quick to penalise them.
Well, the Kiwi Merry Whistler really on form, isn't he? But he's letting the players know very early in the piece that he's not going to have anybody hanging over, offside. Let's get on with the game of football.
Now, can Great Britain hold out as Wishart takes it up? That's great tackling. Low down by Andy Platt. They've got to reorganise. They've got to plug the gap that Gregory has left. Harrigan with a strong run downfield. Stopped by Crooks and Schofield. Clyde. Whoa, the ball comes out. Wonderful tackle, that one. No problems there. And Andy Platt, the man.
Oh, what a tackle on his opposite number. Linda, look at this. Oh, this is Wooshka time. Clark up top. Platt downstairs. And Linda joins them in Disneyland.
So it's a real rough, tough, bruising affair. We've had just over 10 minutes of this first half. It's 0-0. A fire, though, just with the width of a touchline. Denied the first try after a super run. And there's a penalty, Great Britain, for laying on in the tackle.
Well, Skerritt really worked for that one, didn't he? The Australians swarming all over them.
Well, I think we found Jonathan Davis on the touchline. Jonathan, big blow that Gregory's had to go off.
Yeah, ferocious start at the moment, you know, it's unbelievable. I think Andy Gregory's lucky he's only had 10 minutes because they are outlawing head-high tackles over here. And, you know, it looked really a bad tackle. So hopefully they can survive, you know, the remaining 6 or 7 minutes without Andy and, you know, get on with the job.
Kelvin Skerritt picks himself up. Dermot, the dummy half. Coming onto it short was Crooks. He'll take the ball up all night. He did it at Illawarra, and he's in the mood to do it again here tonight. This now is Dennis Betts. Darryl Powell. Gregory off, remember, in the sin bin. Schofield, a little chip over the top. Well, the British supporters and the British players saying that Schofield was impeded as he chased that one ahead. Referee Hale was completely and utterly unimpressed.
Well, that's the type of confidence that's going through the British camp now. Early in the piece to do a little run round, a little chip over. That shows the confidence.
And a bit of, well, I wonder whether they know each other in that green and gold jersey. That bounced off the chest from the pass of Langer, and so Great Britain get it back.
Harrigan took his eyes off the ball there. He was more intent on the defence moving up to him. Remember, it's his debut. He'll be nervous, and the pressure that are applying to him, he could make a few more mistakes like that.
Here come the British again then. 5 errors to Australia, 3 to Great Britain. Schofield, another one over the top. That's the way they can perhaps unlock this defence, and Schofield moving up quickly snuffs out the danger from Ettinghausen. Well, the early signs good, despite the fact that Gregory is off and in the sin bin, Mike. I think the Aussies know this really is a test match.
My word, and the way that the British side are actually playing now, as I mentioned before, the little chip over, doing that all the time. And the referee looks as though he's got the, well, he said he knocked on.
So it's Great Britain's head and feet. Here it is again.
And he's got Walters at that play the ball a little bit later on there for just a little bit of a knock on.
And with Gregory off the field, it's Schofield who's feeding the scrum. Out it comes. This now is Philip Clark. That's a great run from Clark. Arrowing towards the corner, Clark. Newlove. Ball played in field. Stedman's joined the line. Good tackling from Bradley Clyde, but offside against the Aussies. Offside. Penalty, Great Britain. What will Gary Schofield's decision be? Is the angle a little acute, or will Loughlin have a kick at goal? Loughlin's going over, and they're going to take the penalty shot at goal.
You've got to take those early points. Good decision there by Schofield, but getting back to that point in regards to a little chipping over on the Australian side, not only puts them under pressure, but the Australians realise they've got to keep a man back all the time. The wingers have got to be susceptible. They've got to keep moving back to try to diffuse anything like the little kick over.
While Lachlan shapes to take this kick, let's go downstairs. Jonathan Davis and Kevin Ellis this time.
Yeah, well, at the moment they're visibly shaken. You know, they're really getting stuck into the English boys, into the Australian boys. You know, there's no confidence there. They really are shaken up. I've got Kevin Ellis with me here. What do you think of the start, Kevin?
Well, it's just an unbelievable atmosphere here, and you know, I was in the changing rooms before with the boys, and you know, they're buzzing for it. They want to win this game.
Laughlin's penalty just floats wide of the post, but in come Great Britain to stop the Aussies making any sort of progress at all. Mike, in my book, the signs are good here.
Oh, very good indeed. The Australians well and truly rattled. A few of the players have taken quite some heavy knocks. They know that they're not here for a Sunday afternoon stroll, that is for sure.
Great tackling from Great Britain in the Aussies' 22. I tell you what, all the Poms inside the Sydney Football Stadium will be well pleased with what they've seen, but perhaps not this. This is Alan Langer with the break. The supports arrive, tried to go wrong way over the top and lucky to get it back. And offside against Australia. Great chorus of boos round this stadium. No boos from this commentary box.
None whatsoever. Good play there by Newlove. That was a try that went begging for the Australians. But a good break by Langer. There you could see he wasn't too happy with it, was he? But they can't allow this man to run. They must shut him down. Get to him very early in the piece.
No Gregory there at the moment to watch him. Britain have another set of 6. The seconds ticking away. Gregory will soon be back, and I noticed that number 16, Joe Lydon, is coming on, and Paul Lachlan of St Helens has gone off. So Great Britain have had to make a substitution early on. Lachlan, the goal kicker. There's plenty of goal kickers there for him. Malcolm Reilly to take Laughlin's place, but I hope it's not a serious injury for the St Helens and Great Britain centre. Meanwhile, Britain in the middle of another set of 6 here with Dennis Betts. It's the last one. The ball's laid back to Steadman. Steadman hoists the midfield bomb. Moves up to challenge for it himself. It bounces off Ettinghausen. And great pressure again.
That was good play there by Steadman. You saw him run. E.T. claiming that it came off his chest. No, it came off his arms in my book. He had contact to it, but what a great run there by Steadman, putting everyone on side and putting pressure on Ettinghausen.
This is Steadman again. Neat, quick hands by Great Britain. Philip Clark was steaming onto it. Powell is the dummy half. This now is Crooks. Great Britain build again from the play the ball situation. Platt. So much expected of Andy Platt. So much expected of Dennis Betts as well. Great Britain inching closer to those Australian posts. Dermot to Schofield. Long pass out to a Fire. Oh, they went for the intercept. No Fire. Well, he drops it, and the Australians caught offside at the play the ball. This referee is making his presence felt. Schofield decides to run it, and Kelvin Skerritt is just held up just a metre or so short. Here's Schofield again. Just delayed the pass, keeps it going as he falls. Lydon was up with his first touch. Lydon well watched by Laurie Daly, and Australia not letting Great Britain get on with it. Clark is the dummy half. They're going out wide. Ball is with Newlove. Newlove almost through. And swarming Australian defence have to keep them back. Martin of Fire's out there on the right-hand touchline as well. Here's Platt once more. Through one, but not through two.
This is where they want to put on the moves, a little run round, break this Australian defence.
Now then, there's a ton of support out here for Schofield as he feeds it to Powell. Powell gets the ball out to Steadman. Can Steadman reach it? Well, he can, but only with his boot. And he knocks the ball out, and it went out on the fall. Play will come back to a scrum on the 22.
Well, I don't think Steadman realised that an Australian arm had touched that ball.
There's Andy Gregory, and he's back. Great Britain have survived the 10 minutes without him. Not only that, they've had perhaps Another chance to score. But Gregory back on the field. Britain back up to complement, though they've lost Loughlin with that injury, and Lydon is on. Sirenen now for Australia. They're not getting the space that they've had in the past, though, Mike.
No, it's a good defensive effort, this. They're moving up quickly. They're shutting them down, especially the big men. Let's not forget that this Australian pack has got speed out wide, and that's where the runners have. They've picked a pack that can do that.
Langer with this wonderful mazy run. Lydon takes him a bit high. Schofield was all round him, and it's a penalty to Australia for Lydon, and Dennis Hale telling Joe Lydon to keep the challenges down. And Langer looks a bit groggy.
Well, he's been the key player for Australia. He's made two good, clean breaks here. And this was silly play by Lydon. There was no mean way he could get in there. That's just a silly penalty.
We're midway through the first half here at the Sydney Football Stadium. It's Australia 0, Great Britain 0. Britain have had the best chances. They've weathered the storm of Gregory being in the sin bin, and now they have to defend at their own end of the field. Wishart has it. This is Walters. The runner is Lindner. Whoa, there's a swinging arm there as well. Australia really exerting the pressure with Sirenen. This is the first time, really, that the British line has been threatened in this opening half. Jackson, always looking to unload basketball style over the top, is Jackson. Britain alert to it. They're coming this way with Langer, now with Meninga. Gregory has Meninga.
Oh, what a great ball and all tackle by the little halfback.
It's the last tackle. Langer. He dabs it through, and he dabs it through too hard, and it runs dead in goal.
Well, he's certainly bounced onto the picture, hasn't he, Alan Langer? A lot of people in England probably remember him, that rest of world side in '88. There's a replay of the kick, far too strong. And a lot of players, a lot of fans, should I say, were unimpressed. Well, I think they'll be impressed with his opening minutes today.
Well, this is the Ashes series of 1992, of course, and it's live and exclusive here on Sky Sports. And Britain in with arguably their best chance of winning the Ashes for the first time since 1970. They are certainly making their intentions clear here under the lights of the Sydney Football Stadium tonight. Steadman, great kick. That's a punishing kick.
So important, this kicking game in the modern day of rugby league. And there's no finer exponent than the Castleford player there. Steadman punching it deep. A lot of people may complain it's a little bit like chess these days, but at this level of football, you have to have that kicking game in the side.
Jonathan Davis sends a message up from sideline that Martin Dermott looks a little bit groggy. He's received treatment. There he is in your picture now. He's taking his place in the scrum. But another encouraging feature, Mike, of this performance so far, as Schofield makes a wonderful tackle on Rod Wishart, is that Great Britain are seeing through their sets of six. They're not dropping the ball so far. They're not making too many errors.
Well, it's always been a problem in the past, hasn't it? But they're respecting possession.
Here come the Aussies again then. Bone-crunching tackles every time. Platt, what a match he is having already. This now is Gillespie, the substitute for the injured Lazarus. And that's Jackson. Jackson steaming onto it. Gregory takes him. It's the last one. Langer again. Always danger when the little man gets hold of it. But O'Fire had funneled back. And he fancies taking them on. And he's through. He's through Wishart. This man's a real danger. Oh, what a great run this is. O'Fire down the touchline. Ettinghausen, try-saving tackle. Bottles of fire into touch for the second time. And O'Fire, well, look at his face. He thought there was another four-pointer on the way. But so much effort from O'Fire. Look at the great run from him here.
Well, a big fella and Wishart there. They went high and they paid the price. And once again, the skills are coming out. They say he can only just run, but twice he's gone in and he's gone out. And it's taken E.T. to take him out on both occasions. What a game.
It's a great first test so far. 16 minutes of this first half remaining, 0-0. Hope you're enjoying it back home. It's marvellous to be here in the Sydney Football Stadium Great Britain, their 100% record on this tour, they've given us great hope that this could be the night. And so far, things looking good, but Jackson's starting to get into the swing of things. Oh, it's Hancock. Michael Hancock, the winger, but the referees pulled Australia back for a penalty on their own 22. Well, I didn't see what that was for, Mike, and they're furious about that, the Aussies.
Well, it was a little bit of a late tackle there on Hancock as he came through on this one after the ball had progressed through. A little bit of a late hit. There was the high one, laying all over there, you see.
Jonathan Davis might be able to enlighten us still further.
Yeah, I think it was a trip there by Phil Clark, an attempted trip, you know, but nothing came of it. And, you know, it was a strange decision because I think Australia did have the advantage there.
Harrigan taking it up towards the halfway line. The penalty count is 7-5 at the moment in Australia's favour. Now it's 8-5. There's another. The rattled. The Australians rattled, and Lucas and Edwards about to come on by the looks of things.
And that's why they're rattled. When you can get away with tackles like that. Harrigan has got blood streaming from his mouth, and there's a lot to be said up there. Both sets are really giving it to each other on the verbal department.
A little more claret flowing, Mike, on the Australian side than on the Great Britain side.
There'll be plenty of bottles filled tonight.
Steve Walters is the dummy half for Australia. This now is Sirenen, wheels away from a couple. Great Britain just haul him down by the shirt tails. Another big effort defensively wanted from the British here now as Meninga, the captain, takes over. Good quick hands. Wishart stopped by Schofield. Try-saving tackle from the British captain. Here's Laurie Daly. He's been kept fairly quiet so far. Let's hope that continues. And penalty to Australia. Well, Daly really did milk that for all it was worth. Britain laying on at the tackle.
Well, he claims that Dennis Betts was interfering with him playing the ball. Quite frankly, I thought Daly had dropped that ball. Another weird decision from the Kiwi.
Heck of a penalty count, Mike. 9-5.
Well, we say about the nerves of the players, and maybe the nerves have got to the referee, Dennis Hale. But he certainly let him know that they can't get away with much.
14 penalties in just 26 minutes of this first test. Laurie Daly moved from the standoff half position into the centres to cover for the injured Dale Shearer, and Rod Wishart making his 5th test appearance. But his Ashes debut has that chance to open the scoring for Australia. Important kick this, as Mark Nafire so close twice to scoring tries. Now then, Wishart. Absolutely full house here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Every seat sold before the match got underway tonight. Great to see as Wishart lines the kick up, and he's managed the 2 points. Australia take the lead then. Just 12 minutes of this first half remaining. Wishart with the important kick, 1 from 1. The Aussies lead 2-0. A word from Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, I think the Britain were very unlucky there. You know, I played in that game where in Papua New Guinea, where this referee refereed us. I hope he doesn't succumb to the pressure from the spectators as he did in Papua.
Yes, the British that day had something to say about Mr. Hale's performance. But the important thing as far as the scoreline is concerned is Australia 2, Great Britain 0. It could so easily have been totally different from that. But here now is Sirenen. Well stopped by Clark.
It's important, Eddie, that Britain just forget about those 2 chances. This game's not a game of what might have been. They've got to push that to one side and keep plugging on, especially in defence.
And keep doing what they've been doing so well and stop Australia from playing. Swarm round them. There's Jackson. That's a good ball. So is that. Oh, quick hands. Wishart. And good support from Jackson over the top to the captain Meninga. Meninga inside to Gillespie, who fires after him, and he manages to stop him, but still the movement goes. Meninga still in possession. Meninga, try! Oh, catastrophe for Great Britain. Britain stripped totally bare in defence. Meninga, as he did at Old Trafford, remember, in the 1990 series, in the right place at the right time, they kept the movement going, Mike.
Did they ever? They're always dangerous when they attack from their own half. And this big man started it off. Beautiful pass out to the winger, Wishart. There you saw Gillespie carry it through. There were 6s and 7s, Jackson, and this man has the strength to go all the way. Missed tackles. There you see Gillespie, the substitute, a neat pass inside, good support play. We see Jackson get the ball out wide, and the big fella just steps inside. Stedman was coming across too quick. You cannot hang off these players. That started back on their own 22 in the Australian camp. A missed tackle, and that's what results.
A 7-man handling move, Mal Meninga, with the first try of this 1992 series. And suddenly Great Britain's world in the last 3 minutes has almost fallen apart. 6-0 after such a great start. Less than 10 minutes of this second half remaining. Wishart then, from almost exactly the same spot as he slotted the penalty goal over just a few minutes ago, has this chance to add the extra 2 and give the Australians an 8-point advantage. The man from Illawarra, Rod Wishart then, with his conversion attempt. Looks a good one. It's a beauty. And the Australians are singing and dancing inside this Sydney Football Stadium now. Wishart has made it Australia 8, Great Britain 0, and Jonathan Davis downstairs. Things have suddenly turned sour.
Yeah, great try there, just great football ability, and Kevin, an important 9 minutes left for the British boys.
That's right, yeah, you know, it's a try with 9 minutes to go. We've got to pick our game up again now and try and get a score before half-time. It's an important 9 minutes for us.
Certainly is. Kevin Ellis and Jonathan Davis downstairs, the Welsh connection. But Great Britain now must try and get that football back, and as they so rightly say, must try, if possible, and score before half-time. Harrigan running strongly, but met inside his own quarter line. Here's Sirenen. Oh, it's a big, fierce battle amongst the forwards. Clark and Skerritt, the men in there. Langer stepping off one foot and then off the other. Crooks was the man who swept up the danger. Clyde. Quite a tackle count, isn't it? Jackson lays the ball back to Ettinghausen. Remember, Ettinghausen with those 2 try-saving tackles on Martin of Fire in this first half. How different the story might have been. Stedman. Now Dermott, the acting halfback. Going on his own is Martin Dermott. But suddenly Great Britain, Mike, not finding the space, not finding the room.
Well, they missed 2 tackles in that movement. Let's not take anything away from the Australian try. It was a tremendous support play. The players were there in abundance. But really, it's just one of those mistakes that can win or lose a game.
There's Paul Newlove playing on the wing, the Featherstone Rovers man. This now is Darryl Powell. Such confidence in the British camp. 15 errors to them and just 10 to the Australians. For the penalty to Great Britain. The penalty count will make horrendous reading for Bobby Fulton.
Well, there's no doubt here in the replay. Harrigan all over the player. There you see Powell trying to get up to play the ball. He's certainly been keen on that. The Kiwi, Dennis Hale.
Powell, the man held down. Lydon with the penalty. It's taken Great Britain to within 10 metres of the line. Now, this really would be the ideal moment. Skerritt, first man. Gregory, can he conjure up some magic? Phil Clark. Almost through. Dermot again, Gregory, they're coming this way towards the Fire's wing. Oh, Darryl Powell has it, he took that brilliantly. And that's a great saving tackle again from Eddinghausen. Here's a Fire, flings the ball into no man's land. Gregory continues it. This is Crooks. And the ball spills by Lee Crooks. Harrigan sweeps up for Australia. And Harrigan, as he was tackled, managed to get that one away to Laurie Daly.
Well, another chance goes begging for Britain. They could rue the day for this. You have to take those chances.
8-0, the Australians lead. 5 minutes now to half-time. Here's another break from the Australians. Gillespie, well watched though by Crooks and Schofield. Those two, I can tell you, haven't been far away from each other all the way through this tour so far, and they're in there first again for Great Britain in that movement. Now this is Jackson. Jackson through one. Good support play again from Australia. Meninga once more. Supported out wide. Meninga kept hold of it. Two men were there. Clyde and Wishart. This is Clyde. Britain must stop him, and they force him into touch, and they have done so. Oh, breathe a sigh of relief.
And so we should. Clyde banging the ball down. Meninga should have passed that ball. He had Clyde outside. He took the option to step round Steadman. The tackle was good, and the try went begging.
Britain camped on their own line then. Skerritt trying to drive it downfield.
Of course, the big problem now for the British side is that they're trying to slow the Australians down at the play of the ball, but with the referee giving so many penalties for holding down, they're a bit frightened to do that. And that's where the Australians are very good at. Quick play the ball, and they catch the defence.
Here's Darryl Powell for Great Britain. Stopped in his tracks. Good tackling from Australia, that. Ball's laid back. Steadman with the kick downfield. Suddenly Britain aren't moving up quite as quickly as they were in the opening quarter of this match. That's a great run. Hancock. Sixth test for Michael Hancock tonight. Daly, brilliant stuff.
Talking of Hancock, it's amazing how he can always beat that first man.
Here's Meninga, the dangerous down this right-hand touchline. Wishart stopped eventually. 3 minutes of first half remaining. Langer standing in the tackle well, gives it to Harrigan. Australia knock on. Schofield is allowed to play on, trying to go round Hancock. Good tackling from the winger. And Gillespie has had the wind taken out of his sails. Kick over the top. A real chase on here. Is that a try? Steadman? What's the referee given? Oh, he says that it was the Australian arm that got to it first. Steadman with a kick over the top, so close again.
Well, Daly, I don't know what he was doing here. He was just having a soul, wasn't he? He didn't realise until it was at the end. Oh, that was so close. He just took his time, didn't he? Oh, that could have been a gift. 4 points.
Mike, I hope this isn't going to be a night of what might have been. We've seen a Fire stop twice. That was a correct decision. No in-goal touch judges in international football over here. Dennis Hale didn't need them. He was absolutely right. But so close again.
Yes, I'm afraid so. We're not having that little bit of rub of the luck that we need. But by the same token, that was poor play by Daly.
They say every great footballer can take his time. Daly must have brought almost heart failure to his coach, Bob Fulton, and the other 12 men in the green and gold out there. But Britain running onto the ball strongly with Clark. They're getting closer to that line again. Here's the man who might just open the door. Langer's all round him. And penalty to Great Britain. And it's right in front of the posts. Well, I'm sure that Bobby Fulton, who had a word or two to say about the French referee, won't like this tackle count, but here it is again.
Well, there you see Jackson and Meninga. They'd moved up far too quickly. Not even Martin O'Fire could move up that quick. This should be a gift 2 points. Steady the ship somewhat, so that Malcolm really can get to his charges in the half-time break.
Well, Lachlan is off. So it's going to be Lee Crooks who'll take this important penalty goal. Gregory just slowing things down sufficiently to catch the Australians offside. And Lee Crooks now with an important kick. Crooks, the big man, coming back to the big time tonight. The Castleford captain. And I don't think he has taken many more important kicks than this in 1992. He can bring the deficit back to just 6 points. It's 8-0 at the moment. Crooks has a look, settles himself, steadies the nerves. He's kicked it. First 2 points for Great Britain from the boot of Lee Crooks. Australia 8, Great Britain 2, and there is the half-time siren. And Lee Crooks just steadied his nerves down and kept his eye on the ball and slotted it over that crossbar. So half of what might have been, but the Australians, marvellous play. They've scored the one try of the first half. They lead by 8 points to 2.
Sydney Football Stadium, Australia 8, Great Britain 2.
Yes, welcome back to the Sydney Football Stadium as Mal Meninga leads the Australians out for the second 40 minutes. A torrid first half behind us. 8-4, the Australia 8-2, the Australians lead. The try from Mal Meninga, the 2 goals from Rod Wishart, and here comes Great Britain to try and get themselves back into this match early on in the second half. Ellery Hanley, the non-playing tour captain, having a chat with the assistant coach Phil Larder, and the man filling in for Hanley in the 13 jersey, Philip Clark of Wigan, Mike, one of the stars of that first half.
Oh, he's had a wonderful first 40 minutes, but unfortunately for Great Britain, the stats say it all. Great Britain have missed 17 tackles as against Australia's 5. Australia has taken at least one chance. Quite frankly, I hate to say it, but Australia should have been further ahead. I did think that Mal Meninga really did blow a chance late in that first half. Let's hope that Great Britain can get it back on the right track.
We're back underway then, and Great Britain have 40 minutes to get themselves back on the rails and get themselves ahead on the scoreboard and give us the victory that we all have been dreaming about since we arrived in Australia. Long tour, much to go, and Britain trailing 8-2 at half-time. Mike, can they come back?
Oh yes, of course they can. There's only 6 points in it. That's a converted try, and I'm sure the British coach Malcolm really would have given them a little bit of a round to the kitchen, especially to keep their hands down, go for the legs. There's been quite a few of the British players a little going too high far too often.
They're on the last tackle, the Australians. The kick ahead was from Alan Langer. Paul Newlove picks up not far from his own try line, then gets away a couple of metres, but is soon clobbered by Clyde and by Daly. We're live and exclusive on Sky Sports from this magnificent football stadium in Sydney. The scene of the British triumph in 1988. Daly not happy with that from Kelvin Skerrett, complaining as Newlove takes the ball up and over the quarter line. Here's Dennis Betts. He's been watched very, very closely by the Australians in that first half. Gregory with the little grubber kick through. Langer with the knock on. Great Britain can carry on. They have 6 more. Newlove. Gregory from the acting half-back position. This now is Skerrett once more.
Lovely kick there by Gregory. It's always awkward for any player to pick it up. Langer was the culprit then.
Schofield, that's good play. Powell taken man and ball by the Australian captain, Mal Meninga, as soon as he received that. But again, Great Britain rolling forward. Schofield shaping to kick. Then giving it to Powell, standing in the tackle, gives it to Clark. Clark taking them on. Good tackling by Gillespie and Stirranen. Last one for Great Britain. Back to Stedman. Stedman, grubber kicks ahead, chases his own kick. Ettinghausen's there, Steadman wheels him in. The British full-back, Mike, Graham Steadman's done well.
Exceptionally well. They're bringing Sean Edwards to the sideline. It looks like that really is making a substitution again.
Edwards has been pushed on, and by the looks of things, it's Paul Newlove, is it, who's come off? Newlove limping away. So, Edwards on. A bit of a reorganisation has to be undergone here on the pitch. As Australia have possession with Langer, just give him a yard and there'll be problems, and he's got that ball away in the tackle again. This is Harrigan. It's the last one, though. Good defence from Great Britain. Meninga hoists the ball downfield. Steadman, first bounce. No one from Australia's arrived yet, and Steadman off on a great run. Just ankle tapped by the big man, Paul Sirenen.
Oh, he was nearly through the break then, Eddie.
So close. Newlove has a dead leg. That's why he's been taken off. Offside against the Aussies again. Langer looks to the heavens, can't believe it. You're inside the 5, says Dennis Hale. It's penalty to the British. Lydon comes up. Schofield says, let's go for ground. Obviously, just 10 metres inside the Aussies' half. That's taken them to the quarter line. What a great time to score the first try. As Skerritt tries to get away from Gillespie, takes the second tackle. Crooks back inside to Platt. Good tackling. Britain have made no progress. Gregory, Edwards. Edwards to Dennis Betts. It's good defence from Australia. Lydon, the dummy half. Edwards. Lydon again. Sean Edwards, of course, leading scorer back home. Here's Andy Platt looking for the support from Schofield. It just wasn't quite there. It's the last tackle. 10 metres out. Gregory, Grubber kicks ahead. And Ettinghausen, well, he's had a magnificent match so far. The Cronulla full-back.
Oh, wonderful pick-up there by Andrew Ettinghausen. That was a neat kick. There was a lot of pace on that ball from Gregory. He swooped down and took it up magnificent.
Lindner. The Australians making progress with the ball in their arms, which is something in their set of 6 the British are struggling to do. Jackson. Oh, great stepping from Jackson. Inching away from their own try line all the time. Meninga with the kick downfield.
So important for Great Britain not to panic in the early part of the second half. He's lost a boot to Steadman.
Well, Martin Offiah on my book has seen the ball twice, and there's been danger on every occasion that he has had the ball in his arms, Mike. But Britain simply are not getting the ball out to him.
Well, the Australian defence have really corrected themselves. Early in that piece, they made those 2 breaks. A bad tackle on one of them. They both went high. But really, they have shut them down very, very well. They're forcing Great Britain to play down the middle.
Crooks will take the ball down the middle. But they need to give it some space. They need to get it wide if they can to the flyer of fire. Perhaps they can here. As Schofield cuts through. This is a great run. Fire's in support. And Fire was impeded in back play, but here he is now. He has it. He turns away from Ettinghausen this time. Can't get away from Sirenen, though.
Oh, that should have been a penalty. Fire was impeded. Schofield was looking for him, and he was held back.
And the bomb from Gregory didn't really turn into a bomb. And Ettinghausen was able to pick it up behind his own posts in the in-goal area. So the Australians will start with a tap from their own 22.
Well, the touch judge should be on that. He must have been blind not to have seen it.
Couldn't understand really why Schofield couldn't get the ball to him, but that was the reason. He was impeded, and he just wasn't there in support, wasn't Offiah.
Well, it left Schofield with just one option, to bring the ball back inside. And Australian defence scrambled back into it.
It might be a night of what might have been. Let's hope not. Langer goes for it, and he is the recipient of a penalty because he was impeded as he chased that kick ahead.
Well, Langer's having a fine night. There you see. Well, he turned his back. Did he put the leg across? The referee thought so.
Well, Gary Schofield, by the way, has moved into the centre to cover for Newlove. Lydon's come onto the wing, and Edwards is playing standoff to Andy Gregory, the combination that was so deadly for Wigan last season at home. Let's hope it can be deadly here tonight. As Siranen finds Langer, he gives it to Lindner. The big defensive effort required from Great Britain here now. The Aussies just slowing it down at the play the ball to their own pace. That's Paul Harrigan under the challenge from Clark, and Harrigan has received a bang. Gets up, plays the ball. Langer. Jackson. Oh, Daly dances away from Dermot and Meninga. Ball fed inside to Clyde. He's through Crooks. Crooks has gone down. Try. Try for Meninga. The captain's come up again. Crooks went down, crumpled in pain as that ball was fed out wide. Meninga was there. Meninga, the man who's just one appearance away from the record for Australia. He's come up with the goods again here tonight.
Well, two long balls, Langer, Jackson, and then Clyde. The big fella brings Bradley inside. Oh, dearie me, a fire caught coming in off his wing. But really, Great Britain were caught here. They moved up quickly. Dermot, the hooker, was found out on the centres. There you see it. Daly just steps round. Out to the big captain. Meninga inside. Bradley Clyde does the rest. Keeps the ball alive. Crooks went high. A fire comes inside. Stedman can't hold the strength of Meninga. And I'm afraid it's getting worse now for the British side.
12 points to 2. Great Britain looking serious as they should on an occasion like that. 12-2 the Aussies lead. Meninga with a try in each of the 3 tests in 1990 has now scored 2 here at the Sydney Football Stadium tonight. There was a feeling in this part of the world that Meninga might be the weak link, but he's certainly come up with the goods here this evening. Tremendous performance from the Australian captain. Wishart then, 2 from 2. This is his most difficult. If this flies over, it really will rub salt into the British wounds. Each time they've been so close themselves, Great Britain, the Aussies have come up with a score, and he's not maintained that 100% record this time. It stays at 12-2, 10 points the difference. Big job for the Lions now, Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, big man is there again, you know, 2 missed tackles, but, you know, they seem to be taking their chances, Kevin.
That's right, Australia taking their chances, and again, you know, we're missing our chances. Martin fired 2 chances in the first half, and we blew it, and then he got held back then by Wishart. You know, we've got to take these chances and get the ball out wide.
No doubt about that as Schofield restarts. Ball plays a trick on Ettinghausen. Great Britain dragging on their reserves of strength and energy. They have less than half an hour to rescue this first test. 12-2. That's the scoreline.
A bitter blow there to the British side. They really have got to quickly get themselves asserted, get into the swing of things, try to grab an early try. They're still not out of it, but it's a hard job ahead.
Jackson. Tall stand-off half. Peter Jackson from the North's club. Now Alan Langer. It's the trailing arm that stops him. And here's Ian Lucas as we approach the last tackle in this set of 6. Lucas is about to be brought on. Stedman has it now, a fire. Good tackling that time from Langer. He was finished off by Gillespie. The world's most expensive. Clark drops it. Knock on against Phil Clark right in front of his own sticks. Wonderful tackle from Jackson. They love the big hits over here just as much as they love scoring tries.
But the main advantage there was that one was going downstairs, the second man coming in to finish them off. There's an extra spring in the step of the Kangaroos now, I'm afraid.
Kelvin Skerritt limps off. He's been replaced by Lucas as Australia come again with Ettinghausen. Brushing them away is Andrew Ettinghausen. Skerritt limps to the bench, so they're picking up injuries as well. Great Britain. Penalty against the Lions. Going high, and the referee Dennis Hale says keep it down, keep it low.
Well, no doubt about it, Bradley Clark, a little bit of frustration creeping in. They've given away some silly penalties of the British lads. You can't afford to do that.
So Wishart's going to have another shot at goal from that penalty. Great Britain picking up injuries. Paul Hume arrived here today. He's a replacement. Look at Lee Crooks. Let's pick it up. He knows how important this night is, not only to the game in this country, but more importantly to the game back home. Calling for a big effort from the British boys now. 26 minutes to go. Wishart then with this penalty. The thigh is heavily strapped, but the kicking leg is perfect. It's been in good nick tonight. And Wishart misses. The gap stays at 10 points. That's wrong. It's Australia 12, Great Britain 2. 25 minutes to go. Great Britain have had to make changes, Mike.
Oh, it's a big problem for them, Eddie. Time is going to be their worst enemy. They're going to get into that passage of play where they have to start taking chances. And when that occurs, a team like Australia can often punish you for it. When you take the chance, you have the extra man, perhaps do without the sweeper.
This is Gillespie. Langer and Jackson. Long ball to Daly. Hancock's there. Britain come over, slide across. 4 of them. Surrounding ball goes free. And the referee says that is going to be a scrum down and head and feed Great Britain. And another injury for Great Britain. Dermott is injured and Michael Jackson is going to come on as you watch that replay.
Well, it showed you how intense the Great Britain guys were trying to get at the man. They didn't even notice that the ball had actually dropped to the ground.
Well, that's the last substitution that Britain can make. It's international rules. Once you're off, you're off. And Lydon just couldn't get away from the clutching arms of Gillespie. Now Edwards. Schofield again. There's a bit of a space out on that far side, but that's great tackling once more on Powell from Meninga. Well, he's man of the match so far, Meninga. Edwards, straight down the throat of Ettinghausen. There's a feeling this game is now slipping away from Great Britain.
We've certainly seen the power and strength of the Australian captain tonight, Mal Meninga, not only in attack but in defence. He really has lifted his workload. He has not had the best season here in Australia so far, but I can assure you he's now back to his best.
Lovely ball from Jackson to Lindner. Lindner's got Meninga, but the ball's gone to ground. But Meninga's following up, and he just simply wheels Graham Steadman in.
Lovely pass there by Jackson. That's the problem with the Great Britain defence, trying to go up very quickly, trying to put that pressure. That extra man, the little pass. Here we see the replay. Beautiful ball there. The Great Britain side once again caught not going low. They have to take the Australian legs. It's the only way you can stop them.
"39 errors for Great Britain, 16 to Australia. A horrendous error count. Michael Jackson, 17 on his back. Edwards and Dennis Betts. Well, earlier in the year, Dennis Betts was singled out by Bobby Fulton as the man most likely to cause Australia problems. He's been carefully watched by the Kangaroos tonight. Here's someone who can cause them problems, Schofield, but Laurie Daly just picks him off. Crooks, as he tried to kick that, he was felled. This is Hancock. It was so good, wasn't it, for half an hour? It looked so encouraging. And then the walls came tumbling down.
It's getting a bit nasty out there. Come on, boys, let's get into playing football.
Jackson again, having a greater influence on this match the more it progresses.
I just hope our boys don't start losing their cool. When that occurs, Australia, as they've done so often in the past 10 or so years, they've really stamped their authority.
Langer, brilliant run from Langer. Tackled by Crooks, but by Andy Gregory, but that was high, my word. Now Hancock. Hancock brushes away from Lydon, keeps going.
He's in touch. Only slightly, but Hancock's foot. But this man, Langer, he's found the gaps, hasn't he? Stedman gets to him, and that's the replay of Andy Gregory. A long way away from the ankles, wasn't it?
Great Britain then in possession in their own quarter line. Jonathan Davis has some news on that Martin Dermott injury.
Yeah, Martin Dermott's come off with a torn groin muscle. It occurred 10 minutes into the game, so just shows the commitments the boys are giving out there. He's played on throughout the game with a torn groin.
Great courage, great commitment. But unfortunately on the scoreboard it's 12 points to 2 Australia. 2 tries and 2 goals to 1 penalty goal. Have they got anything in reserve? Lydon pulled down by Hancock twice. Edwards, the dummy half. Stedman's kick over the top of Ettinghausen.
The injury problems really haven't helped, have they, Eddie, with this Great Britain sides?
There were niggly problems all week in the build-up to this. Malcolm really couldn't announce his team until, officially that is, until yesterday. And even this morning, Graham Stedman had to have a fitness test before he was passed to play. And now that sounds like they might have picked up 2 or 3 very serious injuries to some of the mainstays of this team. That's the last tackle. It was on Walters. And this is Langer. The Australians with the confidence now to run it and then just dab it downfield. One for Stedman to collect. Daly is there, and Daly has got Graham Stedman. Clark bravely taking it up again. Schofield couldn't get away from Sirenen.
He's certainly led by example as Gary Schofield, but they've kept a tight watch on him tonight.
Jackson, good tackling this from the Australians. Great Britain still just 10 metres from their own line. And the ball going all over the place. A mistake coming in. And fire dropped on it. It could have been worse. It could have gone to Meninga.
Another mistake. The ball wasn't intended for a fire. Someone stuck the finger out.
Here come the Australians then with Jackson. And penalty against Great Britain. Offside. right in front of the sticks. Could have been easy too, if they want it. And somehow I think they might. They were all caught offside, says Dennis Hale.
Well, it was from the scrum, so they got to take the tap.
All right. Well, would have been an easy 2. It might be an easy 4 or 6. 15 is Gillespie. Gillespie scored the try, has he? No. Held up. Just a metre short. Here's Langer. Slips. Almost gets away. Langer trying to keep the ball alive. Great Britain in the shape of Betts and Edwards closing him down. Walters directing operations. This is Lindner out the back door to Walters again. Now to Jackson. Jackson's through 1. Couldn't get through 2. Edwards with a try-saver. That's how close they are, though. And Great Britain just hold him out. It's the last tackle. They're right on the British line. Sirenen's the dummy half. He's going alone. He scored the try. It's curtains. That's it. 16 minutes to go. 16 points to 2. Sirenen with the strength, with the weight, with the power to dive through the cover.
Well, he threw the dummy. He stood there. The English defence didn't stop him. He has the strength. Stedman still on the ground when the ball was played. That's how quickly the Aussies do it. Look at this. There was no one coming. He was left alone. A simple try, but well taken.
Gary Schofield trying to marshal the troops for one last big effort. 16-2. Sirenen with the Australian 3rd try of the night. Wishart with this conversion attempt. It's going to be 18-2 in a moment. A quarter of an hour or thereabouts to rescue the first test. A disappointing night after such a promising start.
As you mentioned earlier, Eddie, it's all a matter of taking chances.
And it could so easily have been different, couldn't it? Wishart. 2 more. 18 points to 2 in Australia's favour. A fire in the first half with 2 chances. 1 in the second half that Great Britain also put down. And against the Aussies, you really have to take those chances. But credit the Australians for some great defence.
Yes, they certainly scramble back, don't they? But they have the skills. And let's hope the British boys, we've got to think of the pride now. We've got to really show that we can still put it together. We cannot collapse. There's 2 more tests to go.
Sirenen. Well, he seems to have got even more energy from that try, doesn't he? Barreling 2 or 3 more with him. And of course, we keep saying what might have been, but when Martin Offiah was interfered with on that far side of the field, as Britain were in full steam ahead for the try line, he was pulled back and Schofield left with just the one and the wrong option. It would then, Mike, have been 8 points all, and what a different football game it would have been.
My word. And we can thank the touch judge for all of a sudden having something in his eye for that one. 40,141 spectators in this stadium saw it, but the touch judge didn't.
It's a record crowd inside the football stadium then for a test match in recent years. It's the best since 1984.
So important now, Eddie, that Great Britain post at least 1 try, 2 if they can. They've got to lift their spirits for the rest of this tour. They've got to show that they've got pride.
They'll be totally dejected after this. It'll be a huge job for Malcolm really to lift them. And Gregory's pass went to ground. Knock on. Platt kept hold of the possession for Great Britain. But it's a scrum down. There's Glenn Lazarus, his head bandaged, all patched up. He didn't play much of a part in this first test, did he? Gillespie came on, replaced him, and has done well.
It'll be a nightmare to watch for the Great Britain side, especially their coach Malcolm Reilly. Our boys, unfortunately, have made so many mistakes. And when you compare that to the very low mistake rate of the Australians, there's a lot to be learned from that.
Well, Malcolm Reilly, of course, was in the 1970 Ashes side that brought the famous trophy back home. They were 100% that year going into the first test and were beaten. They went on to win the next two. If ever history can repeat itself, let's hope it'll be in 1992. But we've seen very little of this man in the second half. Britain simply have been unable to get the ball out to him. And they're all offside, so it's a penalty to give Britain. But quite frankly, no point having penalties on your own quarter line. Not when you look at that scoreboard, 18-2. And the seconds ticking away, just over 11 minutes to go. Andy Gregory, surprise, surprise, has had a bit too much to say. That's the penalty count.
Full credit, though, Eddie, to the Australians. After a fire at those two chances, they were quick to pull, and that was a high one. Oh, dearie me. Harrigan just went right in there. Lucas caught the full brunt of that, and this could get nasty.
And Lucas flat out, but the referee wants Great Britain to get play moving again. He's unimpressed. Gregory didn't like the look of this.
I'll tell you something, neither did Lucas. That was a heavy shot.
And Andy Gregory, no wonder he's leading the protest. He got 10 minutes in the sin bin. And well, was it as bad as that, or wasn't it?
Of course it was as bad.
Lucas flat out as Edwards takes the play up. Another penalty, Great Britain. This time they're offside, the Australians. Here's Dennis Betts. Just couldn't get through. O'Fire's gone into dummy half. Another penalty. They're not letting Great Britain get to their feet. Betts takes it on his own. Just held short. Walters and Harrigan. They're so close now, Great Britain, with O'Fire. Tried to go round on his own. Daly watched him all the way. Lydon, the acting halfback. Schofield, not the best pass in the world. Gregory, neither was that. Well picked up, that was, by Andy Platt. But Great Britain have gone from the Australian line to the 22. Schofield, now Lydon. Lydon kicking ahead. Lydon collects. Lydon try. Joe Lydon with the try for Great Britain. They're celebrating that one like it was the match winner, but that is the British reward for all that effort.
Oh, wonderful play. Good call by the skipper, Schofield, on the blind side. And Lydon knew there was no way through Hancock. The little kick through, that was brilliant play, but what a great take by Schofield. Here you see Hancock, he's out of position, and not even a body charge can stop Lydon going in for a try. That's what we came to see. Look how Schofield takes that. You see Hancock, he's caught out, tries to push Lydon, but the Wigan superstar in for the 4 points. It's a shame that that couldn't have come 10 minutes or 15 minutes earlier.
Joe Lydon with the try then, something for the British supporters to cheer about. But what is not for the British supporters to cheer about, and just off screen, is that Ian Lucas is still flat out from that high tackle from Paul Harrigan, and they want a stretcher to take him off. Well, Dennis Hale didn't believe it. He thought that Lucas was feigning. Brooks with the conversion attempt, it just fades. So it's 18 points to 6, and there's Lucas. Well, he doesn't look in too good a shape, does he?
I'm not surprised. Where was the sin bin? Where was the send-off? The referee gave the penalty. He knew it was foul tactics. Did he do anything about it? No, he said he was feigning.
Well, downstairs is Jonathan Davis. Jonathan, it looks like Great Britain are going to have to see out the last 7.5 minutes as we watch that hefty challenge. And oh my word, is that the right word to use? We watch that hefty challenge again. It looks like they're going to have to see out the last 7 minutes with 12 men.
Well, the referee couldn't have been any closer, could he, Eddie? You know, he was there. You know, it looks as if he'd never played a game. He doesn't know what a bad hit is. You know, and I don't really know what these linesmen are doing here. You know, I could have done a better job than these linesmen.
Yes, he was totally unimpressed, wasn't he, with Ian Lucas as he went flat out. Sirenen, meanwhile, comes off, and he will be replaced. He gets a great round of applause, but that man, Ian Lucas, well, he's absolutely out cold. And this tale of woe for Great Britain gets even worse.
It hasn't been the best night, Eddie, has it? Lady Luck has gone against them. Some bad injuries there, but that was disgraceful. That certainly looked like the elbow or the forearm was used there by Harrigan. And the effect, we've just seen the big fella being carried from the field.
So come on, the 12 men. Great Britain complained about Dennis Hale in 1990 on that tour when they lost against Papua New Guinea. I rather fancy that Maurice Lindsay, Malcolm Reilly, Phil Larder will have a few words to say at the end of this night here in Sydney.
Well, let's not put the blame just on the referee. There's two fellas on either side that waved the flags. They decided not to on that occasion.
The news is that Lucas has very bad concussion as Daly runs straight and true, tries to drive Sean Edwards into the ground. We knew it was going to be a tough, rough battle, this. Great support play, though. Mackay has come on. The fresh legs, that's the last thing Great Britain need to see. Having to play out with 12. Langer, long pass out to Daly. Quick hands to Bradley Clyde. Can Great Britain keep Hancock out? No! Hancock scores. That's the fourth. And the space is there because Ian Lucas is off and on the treatment table downstairs, flat out.
Well, a beautiful long ball here by Langer onto Daly. And the man who's been scouting out wide all night, the lock forward Bradley Clyde, feeds Hancock. It's all a matter of stretching aside. That's one man down. A beautiful pass there by Langer onto Daly, the neat quick one. He took the defence. There's the lock forward. Out onto the winger. Hancock. Good try, good skills. Look at this beautiful long ball. An even better short pass there by the vice-captain Daly. But this man, Hancock, he has a habit of stepping round the would-be tacklers. He caught a late one for his trouble, but the 4 points are posted, and it's going to be a very difficult last few minutes for the British boys.
Picture of absolute dejection. Andy Gregory coming out of international retirement for this last tilt at the Ashes, as far as he is concerned. The Australians, needless to say, they're celebrating the victory, which it will be now. Just less than 4 minutes to go as Wishart lines up this conversion attempt. Misses that time. Jonathan Davis had a perfect view of that from right in front of him. Alongside him is Kevin Ellis. 22-6, Jonathan. Not so good.
Well, the Aussies have kept on coming and coming and coming on and just took their chances. Kevin, I think injuries have played a big part in his test.
Oh, without doubt, you know, we're missing one of the main men, Martin Dermott. And as you see, Lucas is off now, so we're down to 12 men. And as I say, Langer is running the show, getting balls out wide, and that's where the gaps are coming, and that's where the tries are coming.
22 points to 6. The agony will be over in just 3.5 minutes. As Schofield restarts. And the fresh legs belong to Brad Fittler. It's a cruel game when there are 4 substitutes. Mind you, if there wouldn't have been 4 substitutes, tonight Britain would be in a heck of a state. But when you're winning and then you've got fresh legs to come on against 12 men for the last couple of minutes, oh, it's a cruel game, Mike.
Yeah, it's pretty tough out there. The British boys will be pretty despondent about it. Australia just going through the motions. They know that they just got to keep this ball alive.
Penalty to Australia this time. Head high, he says. Well, for goodness sake, there's a man in the dressing room flat out. It was head high, no doubt about it. But what's good for one is surely good for the other.
Couldn't agree with you more. There'll be plenty to talk about after this game.
Well, this one, Mike, I think we can safely say now is dead and gone. The lads have got to get themselves together, regroup and move on to Melbourne.
Well, they've proved that they can do it. They showed their pride by scoring that try. The game plan was totally shattered with so many injuries. You just can't put it together that way. And as you keep remembering, you say that let's not remember this game as what might have been. But really, I am so absolutely devastated by the fact that the touch judge couldn't see when Martin Offiah was held back. That was the turning point in the game. Martin Offiah scores, we're on level terms.
This now is Kevin Walters. He's scragged by Dennis Betts. Jonathan Davis downstairs. What can the boys do to rescue this series in Melbourne in a fortnight's time?
I think they've just got to concentrate, you know, on what they did for this one. The first half was very, very even, and they were very unlucky not to go in 8 or 10 points in front. I think they've just got to keep on going and then just work and build their confidence for the next test. They've got an important game midweek now against New South Wales country, and then just go to Melbourne and give it their best shot. They've got nothing to lose.
Well, that's encouraging news from downstairs from Jonathan, and encouraging words too. Here's Offiah, but they've watched him like a hawk, haven't they, since those 2 early runs, and Offiah really has not had the breathing space to cause any havoc up the other end of the field. Edwards and Betts, they're keeping going to the end. We're inside the last minute now on the official clock. Penalty again against Australia for holding down in the tackle. Just wonder what the penalty count might be at this point in time. It's 15 to Great Britain and 13 to the Australians.
Well, that should be another one. Langer pulling the ball away from Gregory. Full credit also to the Australian defence. They've kept Andy Gregory quiet. He's the man that makes any side tick. The crowd are chanting. They're into it now, the last seconds.
There's the full-time siren. The first test is all over. After so much promise, Great Britain have lost by 22 points to 6. Well, they were punished, weren't they? But the green and gold has triumphed over the red, white and blue. 22-6. They move on to...